I am such an awesome guy. I make so many videos.
Hello there, Price of Reason here with a series review. Episode 10 of the Quantum Leap sequel series is probably one of the better episodes we've seen until now from the disappointing series. Compared to the previous episodes, it at least had a decent premise and a few legitimate story beats. Unfortunately though, true to form, the showrunner and writers still managed to ultimately ruin it by making the same type of mistakes that they just aren't able to learn from. And in this episode, it's especially frustrating. The leap itself takes place in 1994 and has Ben leap into a female doctor at a hospital dealing with a train crash that leaves many people injured. During this leap, Ben not only has to stop 3 passengers from dying, he also has to help a coworker reconcile with her father. In present day, Magic, Chief Security Officer Lady, and Ben's disappointed fiancé interrogate Janice, Al Calavigi's annoying daughter. As usual, I will go over what I liked about this episode and then what I didn't like. Number 1. Leap idea. I didn't mind the idea of Ben leaping into a hospital during an emergency situation, but the execution of it just wasn't good enough. Number 2. Saving lives. I liked the idea that Ben needed to save lives, that there was a time limit, and that there was something at stake, but still, it just isn't executed very well. Number 3. Random office guy person wasn't in this episode. I was a bit surprised that he never made an appearance in this episode. As I always say, there are just too many characters on this show, especially within the present-day timeline, which in and of itself shouldn't even be there. Characters like Random Office Guy Person don't really contribute anything to the plot itself. Not that he's the only one guilty of this. I really think all the characters in present day, with the exception of Ernie Hudson as Magic, don't contribute anything to this show at all, and I always say that I would easily remove them all from the show altogether. Well, that was the good. Now let's talk about the bad. Number 1. Too busy. Much like J.J. Abrams, who was just recently voted the biggest con man in Hollywood, this show's writers always seem to be taking shortcuts. Instead of taking a few good ideas and really fleshing them out, they seem to be throwing several of them on screen, hoping that the audience just won't notice their overall laziness. I don't think you needed 3 people dying, but rather just 1, and I would have worked the father's illness into the equation differently. As it stands, the events happening are all over the place, and while a few ideas actually did have some potential, at the end of the day, they just don't really come together in a satisfying way. Number 2. Cheap sets. At this point, this show has to resort to showing title screens to explain what year we're seeing, because otherwise we simply wouldn't know. None of the 90s people we see look or dress much like people did in the 90s, especially in an area like Seattle. Surely they could have made a little more effort than this. Number 3. Music. If you've leaped into Seattle at the height of the grunge music era, and your characters are actually mentioning this, it seems odd that you couldn't get at least one song cleared to represent this era. Even if you didn't have the budget to clear such a song, at least have this type of music playing in the background at different points of the episode. Cover songs, anything really. Number 4. Present day. This was probably the most cheaply made economical present day we've seen until now, and also one of the dumbest. Magic, Chief Security Officer Lady, and Ben's disappointed fiancé all interrogate Janice, and as usual, they get no new information out of her. It's just more J.J. Abrams-style mysteries that go nowhere. Even if this show, at some later point, does actually reveal what all these mysteries mean, the pace and manner in which they unfold is infuriating. Basically, it's like using a cheat code in a video game but with writing. No good ideas? No problem. Here's another mystery. It's the ultimate filler, and it really sucks. Number 4. Chief Security Officer Lady. Why is she drinking whiskey with her prisoner? It just seems so odd. It's like they haven't really built this rapport, so why is this happening? Why would Janice suddenly see whiskey and tell her all the secrets? It just doesn't make sense. When watching this, I almost felt like they wanted to set up a future romantic relationship between Sourpuss, Chief Security Officer Lady, and Al Calavigi's annoying daughter Janice. And that may be the case, but if that's what they're trying to do, even that's not really working for me. And the dumbest part of all of this is that, once again, Janice doesn't even give her any information. She just drinks whiskey with her. So the whole idea is stupid, much like this whole episode. Much like this whole show. At the end of the day, episode 10 was another major fumble. I do feel that there were certain elements that they could have used better, and when I see something like that, it bothers me more than usual, because it shows that if this show wasn't rushed and if it actually had a team of people that really cared about the legacy of the original show, we might be getting much better episodes. Everybody is just going through the motions, from the writing to the acting to the production to the sets. Everybody's just collecting a paycheck and putting together this show in the cheapest way possible. As I said in my last video, I suspect that that's why NBC actually renewed this show, because it's really not costing them much money. Most of the show until now has been people walking in a hallway talking about their feelings, and this episode was no different. If anything, I think this episode had even less hallways. What did you think of Quantum Leap Episode 10? Feel free to let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel, and also clicking on that wonderful notification bell. Thanks for watching, my friends. Thank you, and good day!
I am such an awesome guy. I make so many videos.